Now, I think that we can all agree that the current state of Lucasfilm has been quite awful the past couple of years, and with the latest Ahsoka Tano series, episodes 1 through 3, varying through different fans' perspectives. A lot of fans have different views on this show so far. I know Rotten Tomatoes isn't the best source to go by as far as ratings go, but it gives you an idea, and right now it's standing at 76% at the audience score. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's going on with Jon Favreau over at Lucasfilm and the Disney higher-ups, and why it spells a bleak picture for the future of Star Wars and where it's really all going. Now, I've made this openly clear before in the past that I really have not been all impressed with Ahsoka episodes 1 through 3. I respect everyone's opinion, however, that's all welcome below in the comments. But when we look at everything of what's been going on with Lucasfilm as of late, next year, 2024, the main show of that year is going to be The Acolyte by Leslie Headland, somebody that heavily dislikes George Lucas, somebody that has said on the record that if you expect George Lucas to be the key of Star Wars, then that's the misogyny and that's the problem. She has gone on the record saying that, and that really created a big hole in a lot of fans' confidence levels on that show to begin with. Now, the problem right now, what's going on with Lucasfilm, has a lot to do with what Disney is doing with Jon Favreau and Jon Favreau Loyalists, and how it's leading to essentially a purge surrounding Jon Favreau-related projects. Let's get into all of this. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy actually taking action to make the worst decisions possible, one significant development has to do with what's going on at Lucasfilm right now, where Disney's cost containment plan is moving into Lucasfilm. A current Jon Favreau purge is already underway that resulted from Favreau demanding a large pay increase in the projects he is currently working on. This led to arguments and also creative differences due to budgeting limitations that pushed Disney to cancel several projects that Jon was actually going to work on as a writer and as a producer. Even many Jon Favreau loyalists are being let go from Lucasfilm and fired eventually from the company by 2024. That consists of many of the team members that worked on Mando Season 1 and 2. As Disney aims to make Lucasfilm more small-scale by reducing the number of employees, they even dropped Favreau as a co-writer for the Dave Filoni movie that is set to continue the story of Star Wars Ahsoka. As it turns out, they now want to make The Mandalorian 4 into a full-fledged Disney Plus movie that will conclude the storyline altogether, but they are already looking to drop Favreau from that project and to have him only involved as a producer instead of a writer. Now guys, let me stop here quick. The problem that I have with all of this is the fact that Disney is still trying to course-correct Star Wars when in reality, all what they really have to do is that they have to obtain common sense. You need valuable writers on board, you need valuable directors taking control of these stories. So far, I think that what Dave Filoni has been doing with Ahsoka has not been all that impressive. And look, some of you out there may agree or disagree with me on that, and that's fine. But I think that Jon Favreau really opened the gateway to possibilities with Season 1 and 2 of Mando. That was like peak Star Wars. Mando 3, everything began to fall apart. And so now, the fact that Disney is really dwindling the amount of Lucasfilm projects and how Star Wars projects are becoming more scarce, not because of just the viewership levels declining, but also the cost containment plan by Bob Iger that he approved, and the concept of spending less and making less for the next 2 to 5 years to stabilize Disney is also deeply impacting and wreaking havoc over at Lucasfilm. So this purge that is happening related to Jon Favreau-oriented projects is just the beginning of what's going to take place. They want to eventually just phase out the Disney Plus shows and focus more so on few Star Wars movies and take it from there. And whether or not that's going to bring Star Wars in the right path, who knows? Now, here's the bigger problem at large, is that we know that Favreau was working on well over a dozen Star Wars projects. We talked about this throughout all of 2022, many of which have been cancelled, some of which are being changed, and swapping out Favreau with others out there like Tony Gilroy, and that too is just the next level of Disney kind of stabilizing things at Lucasfilm. Now, let's progress here. Further, this is still not yet finalized, however, but he was also dropped from a project codenamed Bluepoint that is set to focus on space battles between different types of starfighters modeled after Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie that is now getting turned into a series and will be taking over that said project as the main writer. Tony Gilroy taking over Favreau. Favreau has been dropped as a writer from many shows that are still in active development, along with his loyalists that are actually prepared to get fired by Disney as part of their cost containment plan. Any further Lucasfilm movies and projects will never have the same budgeting as past projects for at least the next 5 years. To save spending for Disney and paying less to Favreau is also part of the process. Now guys, look, it's so unrealistic to even look forward to all these Star Wars movies, because first things first, you have the Rey movie for 2026 and the Dave Filoni movie all within the same year. Then you got James Mangold's movie in 2027. But with the writer's strike and everything happening with SAG, that without a doubt is going to be delayed by another whole year. Hence, 2027 for 2 movies, and then 2028 for James Mangold's movie. Is anybody really looking that far ahead when it comes to Star Wars movies? I don't think so. Or at least I don't think the majority are. And at that point in time, you might as well just take a big hiatus on everything Star Wars, I feel, to kind of give things a break, let things settle, let things kind of brew, and boost the excitement levels again. I think that there is an oversaturation issue, but at the same exact time, it's a creative problem. They don't know how to make valuable Star Wars properties, or projects, I should say. So this whole Jon Favreau purge that is taking place and will be an ongoing development for the remainder of 2023 as we head into next year is not only removing Favreau as a co-writer from the Dave Filoni-centered Star Wars film, this could very well connect to past rumors about how Dave Filoni got this special deal with Kathleen Kennedy to get his movie by diverting from some of Favreau's projects. There may be some kind of connection to all of that, as it turns out, because it's looking more and more vivid at this point that may very well have actually happened behind closed doors. We'll talk about that more in the coming months. But what's interesting about Favreau is that a lot of the interviews that he has actually taken part in with Dave Filoni, he really kind of just remains very quiet in the background. He's just watching Dave Filoni make all these assumptions about the future of the brand, and it just seems like Favreau doesn't want to be there. I don't know about you guys, but when Dave Filoni was raving about the Acolyte on stage at Celebration, Favreau was just kind of like looking at him and staring at him, not even making a facial expression. There's something going on between the two, I can tell you right now. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.